Welcome, Onos. This is the Oasis News Organization, and today's report is about drive-in theaters. I went to the Buckner Boulevard drive-in theater in Dallas, Texas in the 60s and the 70s, and did a little smooching there if I was with my girl. Did some beer drinking if I was with my buddies. Now, if I was with my buddies, two guys would be in the car, and then there'd be 3 or 4 of us hiding in the trunk. That way we'd save our $1 a piece, which would have been $4, which would have paid for the beer. It was a great time. Now, are you wondering, like I was wondering, when the drive-in theater gets started? I'll tell you. June 6, 1933 in Camden, New Jersey. I bet it was a big, big deal back then. Look at the line of cars going to the drive-in. You notice the colors of those cars? They're all black. One of Henry Ford's smart-ass quotes was, "I'll give them any color they want as long as it's black." Now, back in my day, the sound system was these speakers here on the pole, and you pull up there and you roll your window down and hang it on the window. Now, I never wore a coat and tie to the drive-in. I don't understand what this kid's all about. But way back when it started, they just had a bunch of loud speakers on every row and just blasted the whole place. Would have been pretty good for a concert. If you've ever been in this predicament, this lady right here driving off with the hose still in her car, they've got that safety coupling there that comes apart when you drive off with it. Well, drive-in theater owners didn't have that kind of luxury, because people would drive off with the speakers still on their windows, and kabam! I wonder if anybody ever sued for a broken window. But I never thought about it, but looky here. There were actually repairmen who specialized in movie theater speaker replacement and upkeep. Went to the drive-in theater who weren't smooching or drinking beer with their buddies. They were families. And the kids would need something to do before the movie came on, so they were playgrounds. This one was back by the concession stand, and then there were a bunch of chairs sitting around for the parents, or the other place they'd have them would be right up underneath the screen. And they'd play there until the sun went down, and then the parents would go get them, and everybody get back to their cars and watch the movie. Now, sometimes the kids wouldn't watch the movie, so the parents would have to take them to one of those playgrounds and watch the movie as best they could. So you need a job. Well, how about being a car hop at a drive-in? Let's think about this. Now, I believe people would turn on the parking lights. So you walk out there and you find one. Of course, you have to keep wandering around until you find somebody who wants to buy something. You get the order. You walk all the way back to the concession stand. You get the order. You walk all the way back to the car, remembering which row they're on, and all for a tip of $0.25. That's a lot of walking. Now, I mentioned earlier about the Buckner Boulevard drive-in in Dallas that I did some drinking and some smooching in. Now, I want you to take a look at this picture here. Now, this is obviously a set-up picture by a photographer back then, and there's something wrong with this picture. Now, it's not now. The first thing is there's a bag of popcorn there, so the old boy, he was reaching down in there to get popcorn, and then he reached down to her knees, and he's getting ready to run his hand up her skirt there. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as she consents to it. What's wrong is where they're sitting. You see, the girl is sitting on the driver's side, and the guy's sitting on the passenger side. Well, back then, there would have never been a girl driving up to some guy's house and honking the horn, and he'd come out and she'd be driving daddy's car to the drive-in. See, it didn't work that way. The guy drove to the house, and if he wasn't a gentleman, he'd honk. If he was a gentleman, he'd walk up and knock on the door. He might even say hello to her dad. That's the way it was. And that is a short history of the drive-in movie theater and my experiences. Remember, O-Nos, world peace begins at our home.